So, good morning, all of you. Yesterday, in the NMR spectroscopy topic, we were discussing the precisional motion, or which is also called as gyroscopic motion, means the nuclei of an atom which spins around its own axis and creates a magnetic field. And so, due to this precision, the orbit, that is the precisional orbit, is being created. And so, when the when the frequency of the radiation, the frequency of the radiation used to excite the nucleus becomes exactly equal to precisional frequency of the nuclei. They are said they are said to be in resonance means when the precisional frequency of the radiation is used to excite the nucleus, when it becomes exactly equal to the precisional frequency of the nuclei, means the nuclei which revolves around its own axis creates a magnetic field. Means in short, we can say the precisional frequency or the magnetic field, when it becomes equal to the applied magnetic field, the nuclei is said to be in resonance, and then absorbs absorbs the energy. The nucleus absorbs the energy, then nuclei absorbs energy to get excited to get excited to higher energy level, that is the higher rotational energy state. And this phenomenon this phenomenon is known as proton magnetic magnetic resonance. Proton magnetic resonance, that is PMR. And so in this, the different kinds of proton in a given molecule, different kinds of proton different kinds of proton in a molecule in a molecule undergoes undergoes resonance undergoes resonance at different applied magnetic field, at different applied frequencies different applied frequencies, and produce separate signals. We have seen yesterday the signals which are obtained in the nuclei. Means here we are getting a signal, means it may be from a lower field to the higher field. When you vary the magnetic field, you will get a signal, means the absorption is taking place and resonance is taking place, and the different kinds of protons will show you different types of signals. And so in this, here, the different kinds of protons in a molecule undergoes a resonance at different applied frequencies and produces separate signals. And this depends frequency of absorption the frequency of absorption the frequency of absorption depends on the environment on the environment of that proton of that protons, and the electron density electron density electron density of the other nearby protons. Means here we can just say that this is the important aspect of this, or this is the theme of the topic, that when the frequency of radiation is used to excite the nuclei, and when the frequency of the which is used for the radiations which are used for the excitation, when it becomes equal to the precisional frequency of a nuclei, they are said to be in resonance, and at this stage the nuclei absorbs the energy and gets excited from a lower energy level to the higher energy level, and this phenomenon is called as your proton magnetic resonance spectroscopy. But when there are different kinds of protons in any one of the molecule, that undergoes resonance at different applied frequencies and produces separate signals, and this frequency of absorption of the different protons depends on the environment of that proton and the electron density around that proton. Means here we can just have an example, a simple example, and we are not going to stay with this example here. We will again discuss this same point in the next lectures also. So here if the ethane is considered, now in ethane molecule there are in all 6 protons, means that is C2H6, and all these 6 protons are magnetically same, means they are magnetic nuclei, because here we have considered proton as a magnetic nuclei, and these protons are same, they are magnetic in nature, and their electronic environment is also same. But if we take an example of ethanol, that is CH3CH2OH, here again we are having 2 carbons, 6 hydrogens and 1 oxygen. 2 carbons, 6 hydrogens and 1 oxygen. And now if you see that these 6 hydrogens are of 3 different types. One is CH3 group, CH2 group, and this OH. And if you say the electron density around these protons, the environment of these protons is different. Means here the one proton is attached directly to the electronegative oxygen, and so the electron density is getting attracted towards oxygen. Hydrogen acquires negative charge. Here this CH2 group, the electronegativity attracts the electron density strongly on this CH2 group, and so the electron density on these 2 protons is less as compared to the electron density of these 3 protons. Means the electron density of these 3 protons and these 2 protons is not same. Whereas in ethane, here the electron density around this 3 and this 3, means in all 6 protons, is same. So it depends on the environment of the proton in a molecule. And so this gives rise to the different kinds of signal. Means here 6 protons will give you one signal, and here there are 3 types of protons, or the 3 types of protons, and here you will get 3 signals. So this we are going to discuss in our further lectures. But before going to that, we have seen that we get a spectrum, and that is nothing but a graph of the absorbance of proton versus the applied frequency or the magnetic field. We have seen the graph in which it is the absorbance of frequency versus the magnetic field or the or applied frequency. So here these are the two concepts, applied frequency and the magnetic field. Means either we keep the applied frequency constant and vary the magnetic field, or we can keep the magnetic field constant and vary the applied frequency. But varying the magnetic field is more better than the varying the applied frequency, and so applied frequency is kept constant and magnetic field is varied. But before going to this part of the topic, how the recording of PMR spectrum is taking place, that we want to study. So first of all, this was this method, or this spectrophotometer was first, this technique was introduced by Purcell and Bloch in 1946 for the first time, and they independently developed various methods for recording the PMR spectra. And so this scanning was carried out by using the different things. So here the following the different parts of the instruments that are being included, that is magnet. Then the second is your sweep generator. Then the radio frequency oscillator, radio frequency oscillator. Then the sample holder, sample holder. Then radio frequency detector, radio frequency detector. And the recorder is also there in the instrument of the spectrophotometer. And the here the sample is taken, the and the eighth part, that is the solvent which is used. So what are the different types of solvents that are used that we are going to study? So these are the 8 different aspects of the spectrophotometer that we want to discuss. So what is spectrophotometer, how it is there? So we will just have a drawing here. Instead of drawing the figure here on the page, I will just show you the figure, that this is the figure of an schematic diagram of the PMR spectrophotometer. So here, these dotted parts, this square is indicating the magnet. It's a strong magnet, and this is a powerful homogeneous magnet. It's a powerful magnet, a strong magnet, which creates a homogeneity in the mixture, means the homogeneous magnetic field is applied to this sample container. So this is the sample container, sample holder, that is the tube which is being used. It's a long narrow tube containing the dissolved sample. This is the magnets, and this are connected, magnets are connected to the sweep generator, because we are varying the magnetic field from minimum to maximum. We are varying the magnetic field, and the radio frequency is kept constant. And here the radio frequency oscillator, means the radio frequencies are kept constant around this tube. And then here this is the sweep generator, that is to vary the magnetic field, and the radio frequency detector is being connected to this tube. Now what happens, this tube is continuously rotating, this sample holder, this tube is continuously rotating around its own axis. Means this tube rotates, means when the magnetic field is applied, it will receive a homogeneous magnetic field of the order of 14,000 Gauss, which becomes essential for giving you the chemical shift value proportional to the applied magnetic field. And so the uniform magnetic field is applied. So these are the super magnets that are being used. And so when the sample is placed here, the applied field is magnetic field is applied, radio frequency are passed constantly, and this sweep generator varies this magnetic field from minimum to maximum, and this sample is being exposed. And so the magnetic field created by the nuclei and the magnetic field applied, when it becomes equal, the frequency of the magnetic field and the frequency of the sample, when it becomes equal, it undergoes excitation, and these excitations are detected by the radio frequency detector. And here, when it is detected, they are recorded in the recorder. They are recorded in the recorder. And in this way, we get a spectrum of the absorbance versus magnetic field. Absorbance versus magnetic field, and we get different kinds of signals for different kinds of protons. Okay, so in this way, here the magnet is a powerful magnet is used, powerful magnet, electromagnet is used. Then the sweep generator here is used to supply the DC current to produce the electromagnet, means the magnetic field is being created by this sweep generator. Then the radio frequency oscillator, it provides necessary radio frequencies, radio frequency waves or radiations to bring about the excitation, to bring about the excitation. And generally 60 hertz to 500 megahertz, 60 megahertz to 500 megahertz frequencies are used. Then the sample container, it's a long narrow tube in which the sample is dissolved in a proper appropriate solvent and is constantly rotated. It's constantly rotated. And the radio frequency detector, it's kept it's kept perpendicular to the magnetic magnetic field and oscillator coil and oscillator coil. So this is the, in short, we want to get the idea that what is this, and it detects the types of radio frequency and magnetic field by the nucleus during the felt by the nucleus during the excitation, and the signal is amplified to the recorder. And so here recorder, it records the signals given by the detector in the form of a graph. So here we are saying signals, means in IR and UV spectroscopy we used to term it as bands, and here we are going to term it as signals or peaks. Then the sample, so here around 2.5 milligrams of sample is needed only. So it's dissolved in a proper solvent, and that is only zero point 0.5 ml. 0.5 ml of solvent is needed, and these solvents are nothing but the carbon tetrachloride. Carbon tetrachloride is the ideal solvent, and this is your CdCl3, that is deuterated carbon tetrachloride. Then deuterated chloroform, carbon tetrachloride, CCl4, then CS2 carbon disulfide, pyridine trifluoroacetic acid, dimethyl sulfoxide, dimethyl sulfoxide. So these are the different types of solvents that are being used. And so we have seen that it may be recorded in two ways, that the two ways to record are your, the first, radio frequency radio frequency is kept constant, and the strength of applied magnetic field applied magnetic field is varied, is changed. And so the different protons will show up the absorption at the fields different magnetic fields. And the second way is that radio frequency is varied, is changed, and magnetic field is changed. Magnetic field is kept constant. So here, out of these two methods, this first method, that is the radio frequency, is kept constant, and the strength of a applied magnetic field is varied from minimum to the maximum. So this method is used for the recording of the NMR spectrum. So thank you very much. We will continue in the next lecture.